Chapter 1 A Poet's Daughter. Ada Lovelace was born on December 10, 1815, in London, England. Her father was the famous poet Lord Byron. People loved his poems. They said he was a genius, but he was also a troubled man. Lord Byron had a wild personality. He often argued with Ada's mother, Lady Byron. When Ada was just a baby, Lord Byron left their family. He sailed away to Europe and never came back. Ada never knew her father. Lady Byron was very different from Lord Byron. She was quiet, serious, and loved mathematics. She believed in logic and order. After Lord Byron left, Lady Byron decided that Ada's life would be different. She didn't want Ada to follow in her father's footsteps. "No poetry," she said. Instead, she wanted Ada to study science and math. Even as a small child, Ada was curious about the world. She loved to explore. She looked at the sky and wondered how birds flew. She imagined machines that could help people fly like birds. At night, she would dream of building such machines. Ada's mind was always full of ideas. But Ada's childhood wasn't easy. Her mother was very strict. Lady Byron wanted Ada to be disciplined. She hired the best tutors to teach Ada math and science. Every day, Ada studied for many hours. Sometimes she wanted to rest or play, but her mother pushed her to work harder. Lady Byron often reminded Ada about her father. "He followed his emotions too much," she said. "You must be different, Ada. You must use your mind." Ada listened, but she also wondered about her father. What was he really like? Did she have his talent for creativity? When Ada was 8 years old, she became very sick. She had a disease called measles. This was common in the 1800s, but it was also very dangerous. Ada had a fever and felt very weak. For months, she couldn't leave her bed. Worst of all, the illness left her unable to walk for a long time. Ada was frustrated, but she didn't give up. She kept studying from her bed. During this time, Ada's imagination grew even stronger. She read books about science and machines. She asked her tutors many questions. She wondered, how do things work? One day, she asked her tutor about flying. "If birds can do it, why can't we?" The tutor laughed and said, "That's impossible." But Ada didn't believe him. She started sketching designs for a flying machine. She thought about wings, gears, and levers. Even as a child, Ada wanted to solve problems. Lady Byron worried about Ada's health. She decided they needed fresh air and exercise. The family moved to the countryside, away from the noise of London. Ada loved the green fields and open sky. She spent hours watching animals and thinking about nature. She noticed patterns in the way things moved. These patterns made her think about numbers. To her, the world was full of math. As Ada grew older, her tutors noticed her talent. She had a gift for mathematics. Numbers made sense to her. She could solve problems quickly and saw connections that others missed. One tutor said, "Ada's mind is like no other. She thinks deeply, like a scientist." But not everyone believed in Ada's abilities. In the 1800s, many people thought women couldn't be scientists. They believed math was too hard for girls. Ada knew about these ideas, but she didn't let them stop her. She wanted to prove them wrong. When Ada was 12, she became fascinated with machines. One day, she saw a small toy cart powered by a wind-up spring. The cart moved across the floor on its own. Ada was amazed. She asked, "How does it work?" She opened the cart and studied the gears inside. She thought about how machines could help people. This curiosity stayed with her for the rest of her life. Ada's relationship with her mother was complicated. Lady Byron loved her, but she also demanded a lot. Sometimes Ada felt lonely. She missed having a father. She often wondered if she had inherited her father's creativity. Secretly, she wrote poems. She didn't show them to her mother. They were her private thoughts. One day, Ada asked her mother, "What was father like?" Lady Byron's face grew cold. "He was brilliant," she said, "but he was also dangerous. He followed his heart, not his mind. That brought trouble to everyone." Ada felt sad. She wanted to know more, but her mother wouldn't say anything else. Even though Ada didn't know her father, she felt a connection to him. She wondered if her creativity came from him. She often thought about the balance between her father's passion and her mother's logic. Could she combine both? By the time Ada was a teenager, she was ready for bigger challenges. She wanted to meet other thinkers and learn from them. She wanted to explore new ideas and solve great problems. Her curiosity was endless. The world seemed full of possibilities, and Ada was ready to discover them. But life wasn't simple for Ada. She faced many obstacles. Some were personal, like her health. Others were societal, like the expectations placed on women. Yet, Ada had something special: determination. She believed in herself. She believed she could make a difference. The story of Ada Lovelace was just beginning. As she grew older, her passion for math and machines would lead her to new and exciting adventures. But the foundation of her genius was built in her early years, as a curious child with big dreams. Ada's story is not just about numbers or machines. It is about courage. It is about imagination. It is about a girl who wanted to fly and found a way to soar. Chapter 2. The Curious Girl. Ada was not like other children. She didn't just play with toys. She wanted to know how they worked. If she saw a clock, she would ask, "Why does the hand move?" If she saw a bird, she would wonder, "How do its wings carry it through the air?" Ada's mind was full of questions. She was always thinking, always curious. Her mother, Lady Byron, noticed this early. She decided Ada needed the best education. In those days, most girls learned simple things like sewing or drawing. But Lady Byron had other plans. She wanted Ada to be strong and smart. She hired the best tutors to teach her math and science. Ada's lessons were difficult, but she loved to learn. One of her favorite subjects was geometry. She liked the clean lines and shapes. Circles, triangles, and squares all made sense to her. Numbers felt like a language, and Ada understood it easily. "Math is like a puzzle," she once said. "I just need to find the right piece." But Ada's life wasn't easy. When she was 8 years old, she became very ill. At first, she had a fever. Then, she started to feel weak. Her body hurt, and she couldn't get out of bed. The doctor said she had measles, a dangerous illness at the time. For weeks, Ada stayed in her room. She couldn't play outside. She couldn't run or climb. One day, she tried to stand up, but her legs wouldn't move. She fell back into bed and started to cry. "Will I ever walk again?" she asked her mother. Lady Byron held her hand and said, "You must be patient, Ada. Your mind is still strong. Use it." Ada listened. She spent hours reading books. She liked stories about inventors and scientists. She imagined herself as a great inventor one day. She thought, what kind of machines could I create? What problems could I solve? Even though Ada couldn't leave her bed, she found ways to keep learning. Her tutor came to her room every day. They worked on math problems together. At first, it was hard for Ada to focus. She was tired and frustrated. But her tutor was patient. He explained things slowly and clearly. Ada began to enjoy the lessons. Numbers made her feel calm. They gave her something to hold on to. One afternoon, Ada had an idea. She asked her tutor, "Can numbers explain everything?" The tutor smiled and said, "Not everything, but many things. Numbers are like keys. They can unlock secrets about the world." Ada liked this answer. She wanted to find those secrets. She wanted to use math to understand nature. She began asking more questions. How does the sun rise? Why do rivers flow? What makes the stars shine? Her tutor didn't always have answers, but he encouraged her to keep thinking. Ada's health slowly improved, but it took a long time. For over a year, she couldn't walk. She watched other children run and play from her window. Sometimes she felt jealous. Sometimes she felt sad. But Ada didn't let her sadness stop her. Instead, she used it as fuel. She thought, "If I can't use my body, I will use my mind." Lady Byron noticed Ada's determination. She decided to give her daughter more books. Ada read about famous inventors like Leonardo da Vinci. She learned about his flying machines and sketches of gears and levers. Ada thought, if he could dream of flying, so can I. One day, Ada started drawing her own designs. She imagined a machine with wings like a bird. It would flap its wings and lift into the air. She called it a flying machine. She showed the drawing to her tutor. He laughed and said, "This is very creative, Ada. But it's impossible. Ada didn't agree. She said, impossible today, maybe not tomorrow. Her tutor didn't know what to say. He could see the fire in Ada's eyes. She truly believed in her dreams. As Ada grew older, her questions became deeper. She wanted to know not just how things worked, but why. She studied machines like clocks, looms, and engines. She thought about how they moved. She thought about how they could be improved. Machines fascinated her because they seemed alive. Gears turned like hearts beating. Steam engines puffed like lungs breathing. To Ada, machines were more than metal and wood. They were full of possibilities. Lady Byron supported Ada's interests, but she was also strict. She wanted Ada to be disciplined. Every morning, Ada had to study for hours before she could do anything else. Sometimes, Ada felt tired. Sometimes, she wanted to rest. But her mother pushed her to keep going. "You are special, Ada," she would say. "You have a gift. Use it." Ada didn't always understand her mother's strictness. At times, it felt unfair. But deep down, Ada knew her mother believed in her. Lady Byron wanted Ada to succeed in a world that didn't make it easy for women. Most people thought women should stay at home. They didn't believe women could be scientists or mathematicians. Ada wanted to prove them wrong. When Ada finally recovered from her illness, she started walking again. Her legs were weak at first, but she didn't give up. She practiced every day, step by step. Her determination amazed her tutors. One of them said, "Ada's mind is like a machine. It never stops working." Ada also began meeting other thinkers. Her mother introduced her to important people. They were scientists, mathematicians, and inventors. Ada listened carefully to their conversations. She asked questions that surprised even the experts. One of them said, "This young girl has a mind far beyond her years." Ada's love for machines only grew stronger. She dreamed of building something great, something that could change the world. She didn't know what it would be yet, but she felt it inside her. It was like a spark waiting to become a flame. As Ada looked out her window one evening, she saw the stars shining. She thought about the gears of the universe. She thought about how everything seemed connected. In that moment, she made a promise to herself. "One day," she whispered, "I will create something new. Something no one has ever seen before." Ada's journey was just beginning. Her curiosity would take her to places she never imagined. But one thing was clear. Ada Lovelace was not an ordinary girl. She was a curious girl, ready to change the world. Chapter 3. Meeting Mr. Babbage. Ada Lovelace was 17 years old when she met Charles Babbage. It was a special evening. Her mother, Lady Byron, had taken her to a grand party in London. The room was full of important people, scientists, inventors, and writers. Ada felt nervous, but also excited. She loved meeting people who shared her passion for ideas. As the guests talked and laughed, Ada noticed a man standing by a strange machine. The man had gray hair and bright eyes. He looked serious but kind. Lady Byron whispered, "That is Charles Babbage. He is a famous inventor." Ada had heard about him before. She knew he was working on something unusual, something extraordinary. Ada walked over to him. She introduced herself politely. Babbage smiled and said, "It's a pleasure to meet you, Miss Byron. I hear you are very interested in mathematics." Ada nodded. "I love mathematics," she said. "It helps me understand the world." Babbage seemed impressed. He pointed to the machine beside him and asked, "Would you like to see something remarkable?" Ada's eyes lit up. "Yes, please," she said eagerly. The machine was large and made of metal. It had many gears, levers, and wheels. Babbage turned a crank, and the gears began to move. The wheels spun, and the machine made clicking sounds. "This," he said, "is the difference engine. It can solve mathematical problems." Ada was amazed. She had never seen anything like it. "How does it work?" she asked. Babbage explained that the machine could add, subtract, and calculate numbers with great accuracy. "It uses a series of steps," he said. "Each gear moves another, like a chain reaction." Ada leaned closer. She watched the gears turn and thought about how they worked together. It was like a puzzle, and Ada loved puzzles. "This is incredible," she said softly. "It's like the machine is thinking." Babbage laughed. "Not quite," he said, "but it does follow instructions. It can only do what we tell it to do." Ada wasn't satisfied with this answer. She felt the machine could do more, much more. The conversation between Ada and Babbage continued late into the evening. Other guests came and went, but Ada stayed. She asked question after question. "What inspired you to build this? What else can it do? Could it be used for other things?" Babbage was delighted by her curiosity. Most people didn't understand his work, but Ada did. She saw the beauty in it. At one point, Babbage paused and looked at Ada. "You have a brilliant mind," he said. "Not many people think the way you do." Ada felt proud, but also a little shy. She wasn't used to such praise. As the night went on, Babbage told Ada about another idea he had. "I'm working on a new machine," he said. "It's called the analytical engine. It will be even more powerful than the difference engine." Ada's heart raced. She could see the excitement in his eyes. "What will it do?" she asked. Babbage explained that the analytical engine could solve much more complex problems. It would use punched cards to store instructions. Ada didn't fully understand, but she could see the potential. She imagined a machine that could solve any problem, not just numbers. She imagined a future where machines helped people in new and exciting ways. Babbage promised to show Ada his plans for the analytical engine. "I think you will understand it better than most," he said. Ada felt honored. She wanted to learn everything she could about his work. She wanted to help him. After that evening, Ada couldn't stop thinking about Babbage and his machines. She told her mother, "This is what I want to do. I want to study machines and mathematics." Lady Byron was pleased but also cautious. She reminded Ada that not everyone would support her. "People will say it's not proper for a woman," she warned. Ada didn't care. She was determined to follow her passion. A few weeks later, Ada visited Babbage's workshop. The room was filled with tools, papers, and parts of machines. Gears and levers were scattered everywhere. Babbage showed her the plans for the analytical engine. They were detailed and complicated, but Ada studied them carefully. She asked questions and offered ideas. Babbage was impressed again. He said, "You see things that others don't." Ada spent many hours in the workshop. She watched as Babbage tested his machines. Sometimes they worked, and sometimes they didn't. Ada learned that inventing was a slow process. It required patience and creativity. She admired Babbage's dedication. He never gave up, even when things went wrong. One day, Ada asked Babbage, "Do you think machines could do more than math?" Babbage raised an eyebrow. "What do you mean?" he asked. Ada explained her idea. "If a machine can follow steps, it could do anything we tell it to. Maybe it could write music or create art." Babbage was surprised. He hadn't thought about this before. "That's an interesting idea," he said, "but it's hard to imagine." Ada smiled. "Sometimes we have to imagine the impossible," she said. Their conversations grew deeper. They talked about the future of machines. They talked about how machines could help people think. Babbage began to see Ada not just as a student, but as a partner. She had ideas that no one else had. One evening, as they worked together, Babbage said, "Ada, you are a true visionary. You don't just see what is, you see what could be." Ada felt a surge of pride. She knew she had found her purpose. She wanted to bring these machines to life. She wanted to change the world. But Ada also knew the road ahead would not be easy. Society didn't expect women to think about machines or mathematics. Many people would doubt her abilities. Some would even try to stop her. But Ada didn't care. She was ready to face the challenges. Meeting Charles Babbage was a turning point in Ada's life. It opened a door to a world of possibilities. It showed her that machines could do more than people imagined. It gave her a dream to follow. A dream that would lead her to create something truly extraordinary. As Ada walked home that night, she looked up at the stars. They sparkled like tiny gears in the sky. She thought about the difference engine, about the analytical engine, and about the future. Her future. She whispered to herself, "This is just the beginning." Chapter 4. A World of Numbers. Ada Lovelace had a gift for numbers. Mathematics came naturally to her. To her, numbers were not just symbols. They were a way to understand the world. She saw patterns in nature, like the petals of a flower or the stars in the sky. She believed numbers could explain these mysteries. Ada's mother, Lady Byron, encouraged her studies. She hired the best tutors to teach Ada advanced mathematics. In those days, it was rare for a woman to study math. Many people thought women couldn't understand difficult subjects. Ada disagreed. She believed that knowledge had no limits. Her lessons were not easy. Ada often spent hours solving problems. Some equations seemed impossible at first, but she didn't give up. She would try again and again until she found the answer. She said, "Every problem has a solution if we work hard enough." One of Ada's tutors was Augustus de Morgan, a famous mathematician. He was impressed by Ada's ability to learn. He said, "She has a mind that is both quick and deep. She understands ideas that would challenge most men." Ada felt proud when she heard this. But she also knew there was much more to learn. Math wasn't just a subject for Ada, it was a passion. She thought about numbers all the time. She even dreamed about them. One night, she woke up and told her mother, "I had a dream about a new kind of machine. It was solving problems faster than any human." Lady Byron didn't understand, but she listened. She knew Ada's imagination was extraordinary. Despite her talent, Ada faced many challenges. In the 1800s, women were expected to stay at home and take care of the family. People didn't believe women could be scientists or mathematicians. Some even thought it was dangerous for women to think too much. They said it would make them sick or unhappy. Ada heard these opinions, but she didn't let them stop her. She wrote in her diary, "I will not be limited by what others think. My mind is my own, and I will use it." Her words were a promise to herself. She was determined to follow her dreams. Ada's curiosity led her to explore new ideas. She learned about algebra, calculus, and geometry. These subjects were difficult, but Ada found them exciting. She liked solving puzzles and finding connections between ideas. Math was like a secret language, and Ada wanted to become fluent in it. One day, Ada's tutor gave her a new challenge. It was a problem involving infinite series, a complex mathematical concept. At first, Ada felt overwhelmed. She stared at the numbers, unsure of where to start. Then, she remembered something Babbage had said. "Break it into steps. Focus on one part at a time." She took a deep breath and began. Slowly, the pieces came together. When she solved the problem, she felt a rush of joy. "I can do this," she thought. As Ada's skills grew, so did her confidence. She began to see how math could be used in everyday life. She thought about machines, like the ones Babbage was building. She imagined how numbers could control their movements. She even wondered if numbers could describe music, art, and nature. Her ideas were far ahead of her time. But not everyone supported Ada's ambitions. Some people criticized her for studying so much. They said, "Why does she bother? A woman's place is in the home." Ada felt hurt by these words, but she didn't let them stop her. She told her mother, "I will prove them wrong. I will show them what a woman can do. Lady Byron reminded Ada to stay strong. She said, "Your work is important. You have a rare gift. Use it wisely." Ada took her mother's advice to heart. She worked even harder, determined to make a difference. One of Ada's favorite things about math was its beauty. She believed numbers could create harmony. She once said, "Math is like music. It has rhythm and structure. It speaks to the soul." These words showed how deeply she understood the subject. Ada also believed that math could change the future. She thought about the machines Babbage was designing. She wondered, what if machines could think like humans? What if they could solve problems on their own? These questions excited her. She wanted to be part of this new world. Ada's dedication to learning inspired those around her. Her tutors admired her curiosity and determination. One of them said, "She has the mind of a mathematician and the heart of a poet." This balance of logic and imagination made Ada unique. But Ada's journey was not without struggles. She often felt lonely. There were few people who understood her passion for numbers. Many of her friends didn't share her interests. She sometimes wondered if she was too different. But then she would remember her dreams. She would think about the future she wanted to create. And she would keep going. One evening, as Ada worked on a difficult problem, she looked out the window. The stars were bright in the night sky. She thought about how far away they were, yet how perfectly they moved. She whispered to herself, "Math is the key to everything. It connects the stars, the earth, and even us." This belief drove Ada to push the boundaries of what was possible. She didn't just want to learn math. She wanted to use it to change the world. She dreamed of a future where machines could help people think, create, and discover. It was a bold vision, but Ada was not afraid to dream big. Ada's love for mathematics shaped her life. It gave her a purpose and a voice. It helped her overcome doubts and challenges. It connected her to people like Charles Babbage, who shared her passion for innovation. And it set her on a path that would make history. As Ada closed her notebook that night, she smiled. She knew her journey was just beginning. The world of numbers was vast, and she was ready to explore it. She whispered to herself, "There is so much more to discover." Chapter 5. The Analytical Engine. Charles Babbage had a bold idea. He wanted to create a new kind of machine. It would be far more advanced than the difference engine. He called it the analytical engine. This machine, he believed, could solve complex problems. It could process information in ways no one had imagined before. When Ada Lovelace first heard about the analytical engine, she was fascinated. She visited Babbage in his workshop. Papers were scattered everywhere. Gears, levers, and wheels covered the tables. Babbage showed her his plans. He explained how the machine would work. The analytical engine will follow instructions, he said. It will use punched cards to store commands. These cards will tell it what to do. Ada studied the plans carefully. She asked questions about every detail. What kind of problems can it solve? She asked. Babbage smiled. Anything that can be described in numbers, he said. As Babbage explained more, Ada's imagination began to soar. She saw something that even Babbage didn't see. The analytical engine wasn't just a calculator. It was something much greater. She said to him, "This machine could think." Babbage looked surprised. "Think?" he asked. "Machines don't think. They only follow orders." But Ada shook her head. "No," she said. "If it can follow instructions, it can do more. It could create. It could make decisions." Babbage wasn't sure about this idea. He was focused on building the machine. He didn't think about its future potential, but Ada did. She believed the analytical engine could change the world. Not everyone shared her excitement. Many people laughed at Ada's ideas. They said, "A machine that thinks? That's impossible." Some even said, "Women shouldn't be talking about such things." Ada felt frustrated, but she didn't let the criticism stop her. She was used to people doubting her. Ada decided to learn everything she could about the analytical engine. She read books about machinery and mathematics. She studied how the punched cards worked. She wanted to understand every part of the machine. She asked Babbage endless questions. He began to realize how brilliant Ada truly was. One day, Babbage showed Ada how the punched cards worked. The cards had holes that represented instructions. When the machine read the cards, it knew what to do. Ada thought about this system for a long time. She realized it could be used for more than numbers. The cards could create patterns, she said. They could make music or art. Babbage was surprised again. He hadn't thought about this before. Ada explained her idea. If we can write instructions, we can tell the machine to do almost anything, she said. It's not just a tool. It's a new kind of mind. The more Ada thought about the analytical engine, the more excited she became. She began writing her ideas in notebooks. She imagined a future where machines helped people solve problems. She wrote, "One day, machines like this will be everywhere. They will change how we live and work." Babbage was impressed by Ada's vision. He invited her to work with him. He wanted her to help explain the analytical engine to others. Ada agreed. She wanted the world to understand the machine's potential. One of Ada's most important tasks was translating a scientific paper. The paper was written by an Italian engineer who had described the analytical engine. Ada translated it into English, but she didn't stop there. She added her own ideas and explanations. Her notes were longer than the original paper. In her notes, Ada explained how the analytical engine worked. She described how the punched cards could be used to give instructions. She even wrote a detailed example of how the machine could calculate a sequence of numbers. This was the first computer program in history. Ada's notes were revolutionary. She explained that the analytical engine wasn't limited to numbers. It could work with anything that could be represented by symbols like words or music. She wrote, "The engine might compose elaborate pieces of music. It could create art or solve scientific problems." But not everyone believed in Ada's vision. Many people thought she was dreaming. They said, "A machine like this will never exist." Even Babbage had doubts about some of her ideas, but Ada didn't give up. She was confident in her vision of the future. Ada's work on the analytical engine became her life's passion. She spent hours studying and writing. She wanted to share her ideas with the world. But she also faced many challenges. Her health was fragile, and she often felt tired. Some days, she couldn't get out of bed. But even then, she kept working. She wrote notes from her bedside, determined to continue. One evening, Ada and Babbage had a long conversation. They talked about the future of machines. Ada said, "One day these machines will be able to solve problems we can't even imagine today." Babbage listened carefully. He began to see that Ada's ideas were not just dreams, they were possibilities. Despite her passion, Ada faced criticism from many directions. Some people said, "She's just a woman. What does she know about machines?" Others said, "Babbage is the real genius. Ada is just helping him." These comments hurt Ada deeply, but she refused to let them stop her. Ada wrote in her journal, "The world may not see my vision now, but one day they will understand. Machines like the analytical engine will shape the future." Her words were both a promise and a hope. As Ada's work on the analytical engine continued, she grew more confident in her ideas. She saw connections between math, art, and technology. She believed the analytical engine could bring these worlds together. It wasn't just a machine. It was a bridge to the future. Ada's collaboration with Babbage was a partnership built on mutual respect. Babbage admired Ada's intelligence and creativity. He once said, "She understands my work better than anyone else." Ada, in turn, admired Babbage's determination and skill. Together, they dreamed of a new era of machines. Though the analytical engine was never fully built, Ada's ideas lived on. Her notes became a source of inspiration for future inventors. She showed the world that machines could be more than tools. They could be partners in creativity and discovery. Chapter 6. The Visionary Notes. Ada Lovelace sat at her desk, surrounded by papers. The room was quiet, except for the scratch of her pen on the page. She was working on something important. Charles Babbage had asked her to translate a paper about his analytical engine. It was written in French by an Italian engineer. Ada's task was to rewrite it in English so more people could understand it. But Ada didn't stop at translation. She had her own ideas about the machine, and she wanted to share them. As she read the paper, she thought about what the analytical engine could do. She began adding notes in the margins. These notes would become her greatest work. The analytical engine was not like any machine that had come before. It was designed to follow instructions, or programs. Ada realized this was something entirely new. She wrote, "The machine can follow steps, like a recipe. Each step leads to the next." This simple idea was the foundation of what we now call computer programming. As Ada worked, she imagined the possibilities. The analytical engine could calculate numbers, but it could also do much more. She thought about how it could solve problems in science, create music, or even make art. Her ideas were bold, and many people didn't understand them. But Ada believed in her vision. Ada spent months working on her notes. She wanted them to be clear and detailed. She knew this was her chance to explain the analytical engine to the world. She also wanted to make her ideas accessible to people who didn't know much about machines. She used simple examples to show how the engine worked. One of her most famous examples was a sequence of numbers called Bernoulli numbers. Ada showed how the analytical engine could calculate them step by step. She wrote the instructions in a way the machine could follow. This was the first computer program in history. As she worked on this example, Ada felt a mix of excitement and doubt. She wondered, will people understand what I'm trying to say? Will they see the potential of this machine? But she reminded herself that great ideas often take time to be accepted. She wrote in her journal, "The future will prove me right." Ada's notes were not just technical. They were also philosophical. She wrote about the relationship between humans and machines. She said, "The engine can only do what we tell it to do. It is an extension of the human mind." This showed how deeply she thought about the role of technology in society. One evening, as Ada reviewed her notes, she had a sudden thought. She realized the analytical engine could work with more than numbers. It could process symbols, letters, or anything that could be represented mathematically. She wrote, "The engine could create music if given the right instructions. It could compose a melody." This idea was groundbreaking. Not everyone supported Ada's ideas. Some people thought she was dreaming. They said, "This machine will never be built. Why waste time on theories?" Even Babbage, who admired Ada's intelligence, didn't fully understand the scope of her vision. But Ada didn't let their doubts stop her. She believed in the future she imagined. Ada worked tirelessly on her notes. Sometimes she stayed up late into the night. Her health was fragile, and she often felt weak. But she refused to give up. She told herself, "This work is too important. I must finish it." One day, as Ada read over her notes, she felt a sense of pride. She had explained the analytical engine in a way no one else had. She had shown its potential to change the world. She whispered to herself, "This is my contribution. This is my gift." But Ada's work was also personal. She saw the analytical engine as more than a machine. It was a symbol of possibility. It showed that human creativity had no limits. She wrote, "The engine is not just a tool. It is a bridge between imagination and reality." Ada's notes were eventually published alongside the paper she had translated. They were signed with her initials, AAL. Many people read them and were amazed by her ideas, but not everyone understood their significance. The world was not yet ready for such a revolutionary vision. Years later, Ada's notes would be rediscovered. Scientists and inventors would realize how important her work was. They would call her the first computer programmer. But at the time, Ada didn't know this. She only knew that she had done her best to share her ideas. One evening, as Ada finished her work, she looked out the window. The stars were bright, and the world was quiet. She thought about the future. She imagined machines like the analytical engine helping people solve problems, create art, and explore the universe. She smiled and said softly, "One day they will understand." Ada's notes on the analytical engine were more than a scientific achievement. They were a testament to her imagination, courage, and determination. She saw what others couldn't. She dared to dream of a future where machines and humans worked together. As Ada closed her notebook for the last time, she felt at peace. She knew she had contributed something valuable to the world. Her ideas would live on, even if she didn't see the results in her lifetime. She whispered, "This is just the beginning." Before we begin Chapter 7, a quick note for our listeners. You're currently listening to this audiobook on WooEnglish. Remember, this content is specially made for WooEnglish listeners only. If you're hearing it on any other channel, it may be a violation of WooEnglish's rights. Please ensure you're tuned into the right source to fully enjoy and respect this audiobook journey. Now, let's continue the story. Chapter 7. Challenges and Criticism. Ada Lovelace's work on the analytical engine was groundbreaking. She had a vision for the future, but not everyone believed in her ideas. Many people thought she was wrong. They said, "Machines cannot think. This is impossible." These words hurt Ada deeply, but she refused to give up. She believed in her work and her dream. In the 1800s, society did not expect women to study science or mathematics. Most people thought these subjects were too difficult for women. They believed a woman's place was in the home. Ada disagreed. She wanted to prove that women could think, invent, and create just as well as men. However, breaking these expectations was not easy. She faced constant criticism. Some people accused Ada of imagining things that could never exist. They called her ideas fantasies and nonsense. Even Charles Babbage, her mentor, did not fully understand the scope of her vision. He admired her intelligence, but didn't always support her boldest ideas. This was hard for Ada. She often felt alone in her work. Ada's health was another challenge. She had struggled with illness since childhood. Often, she felt weak and tired. There were days when she couldn't get out of bed. Her headaches were severe, and her body ached. Yet, even when she was sick, Ada kept working. She wrote notes and solved problems from her bedside. "I cannot stop now," she told herself. "This work is too important." Money was also a problem. Ada and her husband, William King, had financial difficulties. They lived an expensive lifestyle, but their income wasn't enough to support it. Ada tried to solve their money problems by gambling. She believed she could use math to predict the outcomes of horse races. However, her plan didn't work. Instead of earning money, she lost it. This failure added to her stress. Despite these struggles, Ada remained determined. She found strength in her passion for mathematics and machines. She told herself, "Every great idea faces doubt. I must be patient." Her determination inspired those who truly understood her brilliance. Ada's personal life also brought challenges. Her relationship with her husband became strained over time. William supported her work in the beginning, but he didn't always understand her ambition. He expected her to focus more on family and less on her studies. Ada loved her children, but she could not abandon her dreams. This created tension in their marriage. Critics were harsh, but Ada also had allies. Some people recognized her talent and supported her work. One of her tutors, Augustus de Morgan, called her a remarkable mind. He admired her ability to understand advanced mathematics. These words gave Ada hope. She realized that not everyone doubted her. One day, Ada read a review of her notes on the analytical engine. The reviewer mocked her ideas. They said, "A woman cannot understand machines, let alone invent anything new." Ada felt crushed. She wondered if she should give up, but then she thought about the future. She thought about the people who would one day build on her work. She whispered to herself, "I must keep going. For them." Ada's vision of machines doing more than calculations was ahead of its time. Most people in the 19th century couldn't imagine a world with computers. They saw machines as tools for simple tasks, like weaving cloth or grinding grain. But Ada saw something different. She believed machines could help people think. She wrote, "The analytical engine is more than a machine. It is a bridge between imagination and reality." The criticism Ada faced was painful, but it also made her stronger. She learned to focus on her goals and ignore the negativity. She said, "Every great mind must face challenges. It is the price of progress." Ada found moments of comfort in her work. She loved numbers and the logic of mathematics. They gave her a sense of order in a chaotic world. When she worked on equations, she felt calm and focused. Mathematics was her escape and her strength. One evening, as Ada sat alone in her study, she looked at the stars. They sparkled in the dark sky, steady and constant. She thought about their patterns and how math could explain them. She whispered, "The universe is full of mysteries. Numbers can help us understand them." This thought renewed her determination. Ada also found support from unexpected places. Some of her friends believed in her ideas and encouraged her to keep working. They reminded her that every pioneer faces resistance. Their words gave her courage. However, Ada's health continued to worsen. Her body grew weaker, and she struggled to manage the pain. Still, she refused to stop. She said, "If I cannot do everything, I will do what I can." This determination was the heart of Ada's character. She never gave up, no matter how hard life became. The criticism Ada faced was not just about her work. It was also about her role as a woman in science. Society didn't want to accept that a woman could be a visionary. But Ada didn't let this stop her. She wrote, "I may not see the results of my work, but I know it will matter someday." One day, Ada and Babbage had a conversation about the future of machines. Babbage expressed doubt about some of Ada's ideas. He said, "Perhaps you are thinking too far ahead." Ada smiled and replied, "Isn't that what visionaries do? We see what others cannot." This moment showed Ada's courage and belief in her ideas. Ada's challenges taught her resilience. She learned to trust herself, even when others doubted her. She knew that progress required persistence. She once wrote, "The road to discovery is never easy, but the destination is worth the struggle." Though Ada faced many difficulties, she never lost her passion for learning. She continued to study and write, even as her health declined. Her determination to contribute something meaningful to the world kept her going. As Ada looked back on her life, she felt a mix of pride and sadness. She knew she had faced many obstacles, but she also knew she had done her best. She said, "My work is not finished, but it will live on." Ada Lovelace's journey was filled with challenges, but her determination never wavered. She showed the world what it means to believe in a dream, even when others say it's impossible. Her story is one of courage, resilience, and hope. It is a reminder that great ideas often come from those who dare to imagine the impossible. Chapter 8. A Woman in a Man's World. In the 1800s, life was difficult for women who wanted to study or work. They had few rights. Women could not vote. They could not go to universities. Most jobs were closed to them. People believed women should only care for their homes and families. They thought science, math, and invention were for men. Ada Lovelace did not accept this. She believed women could do great things. She knew that women had minds as sharp and creative as men's. Ada wanted to prove this to the world. but she also knew it would not be easy. As a young girl, Ada had often felt lonely. She didn't have many friends who shared her interests. While other girls learned music or drawing, Ada was solving math problems. People whispered behind her back, saying, "What kind of girl studies numbers?" But Ada didn't let their words bother her. She knew she was different, and she was proud of it. Her mother, Lady Byron, supported Ada's education. Lady Byron believed in discipline and hard work. She wanted Ada to succeed in a world that did not expect much from women. But even Lady Byron warned Ada about the challenges she would face. "You must be strong," she told her. "The world is not kind to women who think." As Ada grew older, she saw how unfair the world could be. She watched as men attended universities and became scientists, engineers, and inventors. Women, on the other hand, were often told to stay at home. Ada felt frustrated. She thought, "Why should our dreams be smaller? Why should our voices be silenced?" When Ada met Charles Babbage, she saw a chance to prove herself. Babbage was a respected inventor, and he treated Ada as an equal. He admired her intelligence and listened to her ideas. This gave Ada hope. She thought, "If one man can see my worth, perhaps others will too." But not everyone was as open-minded as Babbage. Many people doubted Ada's abilities. They said, "Women can't understand machines. This work is too difficult for them." Some even mocked her for working on the analytical engine. Ada felt angry, but she didn't let the criticism stop her. Instead, it made her more determined. Ada believed education was the key to change. She thought, if women could study, they could achieve anything. She often imagined a world where women were scientists, mathematicians, and inventors. She wanted to inspire young girls to dream big. One day, Ada had an idea. She decided to write letters to other women who were interested in science and math. She wanted to encourage them to keep learning, even if the world doubted them. In one letter, she wrote, "The mind has no gender. Do not let anyone tell you what you cannot do." These letters gave Ada hope. They reminded her that she was not alone in her struggle. There were other women who shared her dreams. Together, they could make a difference. But Ada's journey was not without setbacks. Some of her friends told her to stop. They said, "Why do you care so much? The world will never change." These words hurt Ada deeply, but she refused to give up. She told herself, "Every step forward is progress, even if it is small." Ada's work on the analytical engine was a way to challenge the rules of her time. She believed the machine could do more than calculations. It could create art, compose music, and solve complex problems. She saw it as a tool for all people, men and women alike. She wrote, "The engine is a symbol of what the human mind can achieve, no matter who you are." Her ideas were bold, and not everyone agreed with her. Some people laughed at the idea of a machine that could create. Others dismissed her because she was a woman. But Ada didn't let their doubts stop her. She knew her work was important. One evening, as Ada sat at her desk, she thought about the future. She imagined a world where women were free to study and work. She pictured a girl like herself, sitting at a desk, solving problems. The thought brought tears to her eyes. She whispered, "One day, this will be possible." Ada's passion for equality inspired those around her. Even her harshest critics began to see her determination. One man said, "I may not agree with her, but I cannot deny her brilliance." Despite the progress she made, Ada often felt lonely. She knew she was fighting a battle that might not be won in her lifetime. But she also knew her work would matter to future generations. She wrote, "I may not live to see it, but the world will change. Women will rise." Ada's health continued to decline as she grew older. Her body was weak, but her spirit was strong. Even in her final years, she kept working. She wanted to leave a legacy that would inspire others. She wanted to show the world what women could achieve. One day, as she rested in bed, she spoke to her mother. She said, "I hope my work has meaning. I hope it opens doors for others." Lady Byron held her hand and said, "You have shown the world what a woman's mind can do. That is enough." Ada Lovelace's story is one of courage and vision. She lived in a world that doubted her, but she never doubted herself. She showed that women could think, dream, and create. She opened the door for future generations to follow their passions. As Ada looked out her window for the last time, she thought about the stars. They shone brightly in the night sky, steady and eternal. She whispered, "The world will remember. The world will change." Chapter 9. Dreams of the Future. Ada Lovelace often sat at her desk, lost in thought. Her mind was full of ideas. She believed the analytical engine could do much more than anyone imagined. To most people, it was just a machine for numbers. But to Ada, it was a key to the future. She saw possibilities that others could not. The analytical engine, she believed, could follow instructions to create music. It could solve puzzles. It might even predict the outcomes of scientific experiments. These ideas were bold, almost unbelievable. But Ada was not afraid to dream. One evening, Ada looked out of her window. The stars twinkled above, scattered across the dark sky. She thought about their patterns and movements. To her, the stars were like numbers, connected and full of meaning. She whispered to herself, "What if a machine could help us understand these mysteries? What if it could think like we do?" At that time, the world was not ready for Ada's vision. Most people couldn't imagine machines doing more than simple tasks. They saw machines as tools, not as partners in creativity or discovery. But Ada believed machines could work with humans to solve problems. She imagined a future where machines expanded human potential. Ada's ideas were ahead of her time. She once wrote, "The analytical engine does not just calculate, it can follow patterns, it can explore possibilities." She saw it as more than a tool. To her, it was a bridge between imagination and reality. One of Ada's most exciting ideas was about music. She believed the analytical engine could compose melodies. She imagined giving the machine instructions to create a song. The idea seemed impossible to others. They said, "How can a machine make music? Music is human." But Ada thought differently. She said, "Music is math. If we can write the rules, the machine can follow them." Ada's vision didn't stop at music. She thought about how machines could solve puzzles. She imagined using the analytical engine to explore patterns in nature or predict the weather. She dreamed of a time when machines could analyze data and offer solutions. It was a revolutionary idea. One day, Ada shared her thoughts with Charles Babbage. She said, "What if your engine could do more than math? What if it could help people think?" Babbage frowned. He admired Ada's imagination, but he wasn't sure her ideas were possible. "Machines can only follow instructions," he said. "They cannot think for themselves." Ada smiled. "But if we write the instructions, they can do anything," she replied. "The possibilities are endless." Not everyone understood Ada's vision. Many people thought her ideas were too big, too strange. They said, "This will never happen. She is dreaming." Ada felt frustrated, but she did not give up. She knew the future would prove her right. Ada often wrote about her dreams in her notebooks. She described how machines could change the world. She imagined them helping doctors find cures for diseases. She saw them solving problems in science and engineering. Her writing was full of hope and excitement. Despite her passion, Ada faced many challenges. Her health was poor, and she often felt weak. Some days she couldn't work at all, but even from her bed, she continued to dream. She once wrote, "My body may fail me, but my mind is free." Ada's ideas about the future were not just about machines. They were also about people. She believed technology could make life better for everyone. She imagined a world where machines worked with humans to create, discover, and learn. One evening, as she rested, Ada spoke to her mother. She said, "Machines are like tools for the mind. They can help us think faster and deeper. They can take us to places we've never been." Lady Byron looked at her daughter with pride. "Your ideas are beautiful," she said. "The world will see it someday." Ada's vision extended beyond science. She saw connections between math, art, and nature. To her, the analytical engine was not just a machine. It was a way to combine logic with creativity. She wrote, "The engine could be used to create not only numbers, but also beauty." Her ideas inspired some and confused others. Even Charles Babbage didn't fully understand the scope of her vision. He was focused on building the machine, while Ada thought about what it could do. She once said to him, "You see the machine as it is. I see what it could become." Ada's dreams of the future kept her going, even when life was difficult. She faced criticism, illness, and doubt, but she never lost her passion. She believed in the power of ideas. She believed in the power of the human mind. One of Ada's most daring thoughts was about prediction. She believed machines could analyze data to predict events. She imagined using the analytical engine to solve mysteries, from the movements of planets to the patterns of disease. She wrote, "The machine could help us see what is hidden." Her words were bold and full of hope, but Ada also knew her ideas might not be realized in her lifetime. She wrote, "I may not see these machines come to life, but I know they will. The seeds we plant today will grow in the future." Ada's dreams were not just about technology, they were about humanity. She believed machines could make life better. She imagined a world where technology helped people solve problems, explore the universe, and create art. Her vision was not just scientific, it was deeply human. As Ada's health grew worse, she continued to write. Her mind was as sharp as ever. She felt a sense of urgency, knowing her time was limited. But she also felt peace. She knew her ideas would live on. She whispered to herself, "The future will understand." Ada Lovelace's dreams of the future were bold, visionary, and inspiring. She saw what others could not. She imagined a world where machines and humans worked together to achieve great things. Her ideas were ahead of her time, but they paved the way for the world we live in today. Chapter 10. The Price of Genius. Ada Lovelace's mind was a whirlwind of ideas. She loved solving problems, imagining new possibilities, and exploring the unknown. But her passion came at a cost. Her body grew weaker with each passing year. Her health had always been fragile, but as she worked harder, it began to fail her. She often stayed up late, writing notes and solving equations. The candlelight flickered as she scribbled her thoughts onto paper. Her desk was covered with books, diagrams, and unfinished calculations. Ada knew she should rest, but she couldn't stop. Her ideas felt too important. "There is still so much to do," she whispered to herself. Her mother, Lady Byron, grew concerned. She saw how tired Ada looked. "You need to take care of yourself," she said gently. But Ada shook her head. "I cannot stop now," she replied. "There is too much at stake." Her determination was unshakable, even as her body weakened. Ada suffered from constant pain. She had severe headaches and struggled to move some days. Yet, she pushed through the discomfort. She would sit in bed with her notebooks, writing as much as she could. "If my body won't work," she said, "my mind still will." The more she worked, the worse her health became. Ada's friends and family begged her to slow down. They told her, "You are doing too much. Rest for a while." But Ada couldn't imagine stopping. She felt as though time was running out. "If I don't finish my work," she thought, "who will?" Her greatest challenge was balancing her dreams with her reality. She wanted to change the world, but her illness made every step difficult. She often felt trapped in her own body. Yet, her passion gave her strength. It drove her forward, even when everything else seemed to pull her back. One day, Ada collapsed while working at her desk. She woke up in bed, weak and dizzy. Her husband, William, stood by her side. "You must rest," he said firmly. Ada looked at him with tired eyes. "I cannot stop," she whispered. "There is too much to do." William loved Ada, but he didn't fully understand her work. He saw how much it consumed her. He worried about what it was doing to her health. "You don't have to do this alone," he said. But Ada felt alone. She knew that no one else saw the future as she did. The pressure Ada felt wasn't just physical. She also carried the weight of criticism and doubt. Many people dismissed her ideas. They said, "She is only a woman. What could she possibly know about machines?" These words hurt Ada deeply. She felt the sting of their disbelief. But instead of giving up, she used their doubt as fuel. "I will prove them wrong," she told herself. Her work on the analytical engine was her life's passion. She believed it could change the world. Even when others couldn't see its potential, she kept going. She said, "This is bigger than me. It is about the future." But Ada's passion isolated her. She often worked alone with no one to share her burden. Charles Babbage admired her brilliance, but he was focused on building the engine. He didn't always understand the toll her work took on her. Ada longed for someone who could see the world as she did, but such a person did not exist. Ada's health continued to worsen. The pain in her body grew unbearable. She often cried at night, overwhelmed by exhaustion. Yet, even in her darkest moments, she found comfort in her work. Numbers gave her a sense of order and purpose. "Math doesn't judge me," she thought. "It is steady and true." Despite her suffering, Ada remained hopeful. She believed her ideas would live on, even if she didn't. She wrote, "The future will remember. Machines will become what I have imagined." Her family tried to help, but they didn't always know how. Her children missed her attention, and her husband grew frustrated with her obsession. Ada felt torn between her work and her family. She loved them deeply, but she couldn't ignore her calling. "I want to be everything," she said quietly, "but I don't know how." One afternoon, Ada's mother visited her. Lady Byron sat by her bed and held her hand. "You have done enough, my dear," she said. Ada shook her head. "No, Mother," she replied, "I haven't done enough. There is still so much to discover." Her mother sighed. You are brilliant, Ada. But you are also human. You cannot carry the weight of the world alone. These words stayed with Ada. She knew her mother was right, but she didn't know how to stop. Her mind was too full of ideas. Ada's work was both her gift and her burden. She saw the future with such clarity that it became impossible to ignore. She imagined machines helping people solve problems, create art, and explore the universe. These dreams gave her life meaning, even as her body grew weaker. One evening, as Ada lay in bed, she looked out the window. The stars were bright, and the night was still. She thought about all the people who would come after her. She whispered, "I hope they understand. I hope they continue what I have started." Ada's final years were filled with pain, but also with purpose. She knew she had done something important. She had shown the world what was possible, even when others couldn't see it. She once said, "Genius comes at a price, but it is worth it." Her life was short, but her impact was lasting. Ada's ideas would inspire generations to come. She had dreamed of a world where machines and humans worked together, and she had laid the foundation for that future. Her passion had outlived her pain. As Ada closed her eyes for the last time, she felt a sense of peace. She had given everything she had to her work. She had poured her heart and mind into her vision, and she had left a legacy that would shape the world. Chapter 11. The Legacy Lives On. Ada Lovelace's life was short but extraordinary. She passed away at the age of 36, her body weakened by illness and years of relentless work. Her dreams were left unfinished, yet her ideas planted the seeds for a future she could only imagine. Her story did not end with her death. In many ways, it was only the beginning. In her final days, Ada reflected on her life. She thought about the analytical engine and the possibilities it held. "This machine is not just numbers," she once said. "It is imagination in motion." She hoped her work would inspire others to dream as she had. She whispered to her mother, "The world will see. My ideas will matter." When Ada passed away, many people did not understand the importance of her work. Her notes on the analytical engine were set aside, and the machine itself was never fully built. Some people even forgot her name. But Ada's vision could not be erased. Her ideas, written with such clarity and passion, waited for the right moment to be rediscovered. Decades after her death, scientists and inventors began to revisit her work. They read her notes and marveled at her understanding of what machines could do. She had seen the future with incredible precision. She had written the first computer program, a set of instructions for a machine to follow. No one else had imagined such a thing in her time. In the 20th century, as computers began to take shape, people looked back at Ada's work with new eyes. They realized she had been far ahead of her time. She had seen machines not as simple tools, but as partners in creativity and discovery. Her vision of the analytical engine as a universal machine was the foundation of modern computing. One of Ada's most famous ideas was the concept of programming. She had described how machines could follow instructions to perform complex tasks. Today, we call her the first computer programmer. This title is a testament to her brilliance and imagination. It honors her contributions to a field that did not even exist when she lived. Ada's influence can be seen in every computer program, every algorithm, and every piece of software. Her work showed that machines could process information, solve problems, and even create. She believed machines could amplify human intelligence. This belief is at the heart of modern technology. Her legacy is not just about machines, though. It is also about courage and determination. Ada worked in a time when women were not expected to study science or mathematics. She faced criticism and doubt, yet she never stopped dreaming. She showed the world that the mind has no limits, no matter who you are. In 1980, the United States Department of Defense honored Ada's contributions by naming a programming language after her. The language, called Ada, is used in complex systems like air traffic control and spacecraft. It is a fitting tribute to a woman whose ideas reached for the stars. Today, Ada Lovelace is celebrated as a pioneer of computer science. Her story inspires people around the world, especially women in technology. She proved that imagination and logic could work together to change the world. Her life reminds us that even the biggest dreams start with a single idea. Ada's name appears in history books, technology conferences, and even on statues. But her greatest legacy is the spark she left in the minds of those who followed her. She showed that the future is shaped by those who dare to dream beyond the limits of their time. Her life also teaches us about resilience. Ada faced illness, criticism, and personal struggles, yet she never gave up. She once wrote, "My work is not for today, but for tomorrow." Those words are a testament to her belief in the power of ideas to outlive their creator. One of Ada's most important lessons is that curiosity and creativity can change the world. She saw connections between math, art, and nature that others overlooked. She believed that technology was not just about solving problems, but also about creating beauty. Her vision of machines composing music and making discoveries is as inspiring today as it was when she first imagined it. As we look at the computers, phones, and other devices that shape our daily lives, we see Ada's dream realized. Her ideas are in every calculation, every program, and every technological advance. She imagined a world where machines helped people think, and today, that world is a reality. But Ada's story is not just about technology. It is about the power of belief. She believed in herself when others doubted her. She believed in the future when it seemed far away. And she believed that one person's ideas could make a difference. Ada's legacy continues to grow. Each year, events like Ada Lovelace Day celebrate her contributions and encourage women to pursue careers in science, technology, engineering, and math. Her name is a symbol of innovation, perseverance, and the limitless potential of the human mind. One evening, not long before her death, Ada looked at the stars. She thought about the universe and the mysteries it held. She believed that math and machines could help us understand those mysteries. The stars are like numbers, she said. They are infinite and full of wonder. That wonder is what defined Ada's life. She never stopped asking questions, exploring ideas, and imagining what could be. She taught us that the world is full of possibilities waiting to be discovered. Ada Lovelace's story reminds us that dreams, no matter how big, can shape the future. Her work laid the foundation for a technological revolution, but more importantly, her courage and vision continue to inspire us to reach for what seems impossible. Chapter 12. Ada's Gift to the World. Ada Lovelace's story is a lesson in courage, imagination, and determination. She dared to dream of a future no one else could see. She faced criticism, illness, and doubt, but she never let them define her. Instead, she worked tirelessly to shape ideas that would change the world. Ada's life was full of challenges. In the 1800s, women had few opportunities to study or work in science and math. Many people believed women were not capable of deep thought. Ada proved them wrong. She showed that intelligence and creativity know no boundaries. Her mind was her greatest strength. Ada's gift to the world was her vision. She saw beyond what existed in her time. To most people, machines were tools for simple tasks. They powered factories or helped with farming. But Ada imagined machines doing much more. She believed they could create, solve problems, and even think. Her work on the analytical engine laid the foundation for modern computing. She didn't just describe how the machine could calculate numbers. She also explained how it could follow instructions to perform complex tasks. This was the birth of programming. Today, we call Ada the first computer programmer. One of Ada's most remarkable qualities was her ability to connect ideas. She saw the relationship between math, art, and nature. She once said, "The analytical engine could create music if given the right instructions." This idea was revolutionary. It showed how machines could combine logic with creativity. Ada's story teaches us to dream big. She believed in possibilities that others thought impossible. Her vision of machines working with humans has become a reality. Computers now solve problems, compose music, and help us understand the universe. Ada's dream lives on in every program, algorithm, and invention. Her journey was not easy. Ada faced many failures along the way. Her health was fragile, and her work was often dismissed. Some people laughed at her ideas. They said, "A machine that creates? Nonsense." But Ada didn't give up. She once wrote, "Failure is not the end. It is part of the path to success." Ada's courage inspires us even today. She shows us that perseverance can overcome doubt. She reminds us that every great achievement begins with a single step. Her story is proof that anything is possible when we believe in ourselves. Her work shaped the future of technology. It is the reason we have computers, smartphones, and countless other devices. Without Ada's ideas, the world might be very different. She was a pioneer, a dreamer, and a trailblazer. Ada's gift to the world is not just her contributions to technology. It is also her example of resilience. She faced obstacles that might have stopped others, but she kept moving forward. She teaches us to hold on to our dreams, even when the road is difficult. Ada's life reminds us of the power of imagination. She saw what others could not. She looked at a machine of gears and levers and imagined a future of limitless possibilities. Her ability to dream big is what makes her story so inspiring. Today, Ada's name is known around the world. Her work is studied in schools, celebrated in technology conferences, and honored with awards. Ada Lovelace Day is celebrated every year to inspire women in science, technology, engineering, and math. Her legacy lives on in the minds of those who dare to dream. But Ada's story is not just for scientists and inventors. It is for anyone who has faced doubt, failure, or fear. It is for anyone who has ever been told, "You can't." Ada shows us that we can. She reminds us to believe in our ideas, even when others don't. Ada's life also teaches us about the importance of creativity. She believed that imagination was as valuable as logic. She saw beauty in numbers and patterns. Her ability to think beyond the limits of her time is what made her extraordinary. In the end, Ada's greatest gift is hope. She reminds us that the future is full of possibilities. Her story shows us that our ideas, no matter how small, can change the world. She once wrote, "The most beautiful things are those that have not yet been created." Her words invite us to dream, explore, and create. As we look at the technology around us, we see Ada's influence. From the simplest app to the most advanced AI, her ideas are everywhere. She imagined a world where machines helped people think and create. Today, that world is real. Ada's story is a bridge between the past and the future. It connects the struggles of her time with the achievements of ours. It reminds us that every step forward is built on the dreams of those who came before us. Her life is a testament to the power of vision and the importance of believing in something greater than ourselves. As we remember Ada Lovelace, we are reminded of her final message to the world. Dream big, work hard, and never give up. Her life was short, but her impact is eternal. She showed us what is possible when courage meets imagination. Ada's gift to the world is not just her work, but her spirit. It is the spark that lights the way for all who dare to dream. Her story is a reminder that with determination and creativity, we can achieve the impossible. The world Ada imagined is now the world we live in. And as we continue to innovate, her voice echoes in our minds. Never stop dreaming. Ada's gift is a timeless reminder that the future belongs to those who believe in their ideas.